slips away, days burn, disintegrate, years roll along and fade. Don't let them slip away. Right here, right now, today. These are the good old days. Right here, right now, today. Hey, these are the good old days.
In 1939, when Bill Finger and Bob Kane created Batman, not only did they create a character, they created a household icon that would live on for generations. If you say to any child, parent, or grandparent, name a superhero, it's either going to be Batman, Spider-Man, or Superman that comes to their mind first. Batman is the comic book character that's been made into the most action figures of all time. He is a trademark, world-renowned. But almost as popular as Batman himself is his car, the Batmobile, also created in 1939. And it seems that any iteration of Batman, whether it be movie serials, television shows, movies, comics, cartoon, has always produced a new version of the Batmobile. And there's been many versions in the comic books as well, changing throughout time, matching what current cars look like on the market, and always trying to be a little bit cutting edge, a little bit futuristic. For myself and toy collectors of my era, there are two Batmobiles that stand head and shoulders above the rest. The first being the 1984 Superpowers Batmobile by Kenner. This depicted the version of the Batmobile that was drawn in the Super Friends cartoon show and in the comics at the time. It had a number of built-in features and just looked great. It's a crown jewel of any Superpowers collection. 5 years later, in 1989, when Tim Burton would come out with the Batman Michael Keaton movie, the Batmobile got an incredible redesign, and Toybiz got to be the first company to produce a Batmobile to that liking. And it was incredible. A young Adam on Christmas morning couldn't believe he got the movie version of the Batmobile. So today, we're going to repair my movie version of the Batmobile, and then we're going to have a little contest to see which of these two Batmobiles really reigns supreme.
Where does it get those wonderful toys?
Alright, so here's our Toybiz Batmobile from '89. It's in pretty good shape. Now it is missing one thing. When it rolls back and forth, it's supposed to make a clicking sound, and this one doesn't. So we're going to fix that. First thing you have to do is flip it over, and there are 7 screws underneath, along the sides and the front, and we're going to just take those out with our screwdriver real quick. And once we have our screws out, the top just pops right off, and you can see how simple this toy is. It's really just a shell with a few little simple gimmicks to make things work, but it's still awesome. So underneath here we have the stick shift, which fires the missiles, and just a couple axles. Now at the back axle, you'll see the gimmick where it makes the clicking noise. On the side of that, there's a piece of vinyl that goes into the wheel well and makes a clicking sound. So you take one screw and you can take it out, and when we take this one out, we're going to see that it is broken off. So the next thing is going to be able to find a replacement piece for that. Now, I thought about using a piece of plastic just from kicking around, but they're pretty brittle and they can snap, and I want this not to break again. So what I'm going to replace it with is something that's a little unconventional, but makes a lot of sense. I'm going to use a Jim Dunlop guitar pick. Now it's made of nylon, so it's not going to snap like a plastic would. It's made to flex. So I think it's going to be perfect for the gimmick, and it's just the right thickness to fit in that slot. So I'm going to cut this down to size, and then we'll screw it in place and see how it works. So I've got my guitar pick cut down to size here, what it's going to need to be to fit in the slot and fit over top of the screw hole. Now it can be a little bit finicky, so what I'm going to do is just tape it in place with some Scotch tape and then screw it in. After it's screwed in, you can take the tape away. It's just there to hold it in place, and it should be good to go. Now once that's all done and we have it screwed in, if everything was done right, we should have that classic sound we know from our childhood of the Batmobile clicking. Yep, there it is. We're good to go. Alright, the next step is just to put the pieces back together and put those 7 screws back in where we got them out from. So we got our Batmobile sounding right, but there's a problem. There's no firepower. Its missiles are gone. You see, the Batmobile had these sweet firing missiles, but mine, like a lot of people's, have gone missing. So in my 3D printing software, I designed up some pieces to make new bat missiles. And I'll show you how to put those together. You can also find any of my 3D designs on my Cults 3D page, and I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. So what I've printed up is a shell of the missile, is the one part, and then the other part we have is the plug that goes on the bottom. And there you go, you can see that there. And so we're going to show you how to put these two pieces together. So what I got here is a package of 6 pens for $1. They're real cheap, but inside them are some fantastic springs. So all you need to do is take a pen out and then just take it apart. These ones are a little bit finicky, but you just got to get this slider out of there. Now once you get it all apart, you can just take out the inkwell, and then there's a perfect little spring in there. You pull that spring out and you can get yourself going with a sweet little Batmobile missile. So using a hot glue gun, I just put a little dab of glue in the end of the spring. Just fill the spring up a little bit, and then quickly put it onto the plug. And let that dry for a quick second, and that'll hold on there real good. And once that's set, then you flip the spring around and put another little bit of glue in the end of that spring. And put that right up into the shell of the missile. And there's a little peg in there that'll hit on you. And I just have to push it up with a screwdriver so it fits onto the internal peg that is in there. And then you have yourself a Batmobile missile. And when you're done that one, you just go make yourself a second one. And then you have 2. And they should just load right in like they did back when you were a kid. And if we've done everything right, they should be able to thwart evil just like this. Alright, so now we have our Toybiz Batmobile and our Superpower Batmobile all ready to go. But the question is, which one is the best? And, well, there's only really one way to find out now, isn't there?
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
So there you go. There's a simple enough fix on our Toybiz 89 Batmobile, and you could see we had a contest and we had a clear winner tonight. But don't let that persuade you. You love the Batmobile that you love, and don't let anybody tell you different. Because at the end of the day, these are toys. We shouldn't argue about them, we should just have fun. We'll see you next week.